just having a little bit more of a chill time. I feel like I've kind of been in that chill time. And then now that I've been going on all these podcasts, I'm like, wait, I'm ready to start mine. Yeah. So you have to tell me some tips when we're all done.
But I actually want to talk about that for a second. Because if you do a podcast, I feel like podcasting is pretty vulnerable. And I feel like when you're talking in a microphone for an hour, if you're trying to like not talk about personal things, that's going to be really hard.
That's what my sister said. Because I'm always like, our podcast. And she's like, dude, you have to actually talk about your life. And I'm like, true. But I definitely am. I mean, there's certain things like I have said that I won't share, like just the details of like my relationship and why I chose to get divorced. And those are the type of things that I won't share. But I do feel like I don't even know. I've been thinking about like what I want to share or what I would feel comfortable sharing, like from my own experience, because my parents are also divorced.
Yeah.
And obviously I know that I wouldn't have wanted my mom to go on and like talk about what happened in their relationship. Like if she had posted online, like I'm thinking about my daughters in the future. And I've even been thinking about, well, what if she didn't share, like spill the tea, but what if she was just sharing like her experience and her, I mean, I feel like you can do those things without sharing like too much personal information, but just like, here's
the journey,
like, here's like what I've learned, or here's like tips that I would say, things like that. So I've kind of been navigating like, where am I? Because obviously I've said I'm not like talking about my divorce, but then I'm here doing this podcast, but I'm like, I don't really feel like I'm sharing anything that's like too personal still. But I've been thinking like, how would I feel if my mom had shared still those deeper things without sharing too much? And I don't think that I would have liked that either. So I'm like, okay, how do I navigate that? And obviously that's just like my personal opinion. Like, I don't know if my kids would feel that way later.
Right.
And I think I do feel that way because I am online. And so if my mom had been going to share something, then it's like, hey, this is Aspyn's mom. She said this. Let me like ask Aspyn about blah, blah, blah. Like now we know all this information about Aspyn's family and like, you know, just things her mom has been through or whatever, even though it's obviously her experience. Yeah. And I do think that maybe that could have been something that is like healing for her, because obviously to talk about things helps you to kind of process and work through it. But yeah, I've just been thinking about that the past week. Now that I have publicly said like, yes, I'm not married. And again, I'm like doing podcasts or whatever. Like it just happened to be that I'm doing these 3 like all right in a row. And I'm talking about my life, but still trying to navigate not sharing too much of what's personal or too much of like my family or even my own personal experiences and like things I've gone through in marriage and like in getting divorced. Hopefully that even like makes sense.
No, it makes sense. So I feel like if you do a podcast, is it going to be like advice segments or things where you're not really talking about you and it's more like, let's give people advice, or maybe we just totally focus on your sister.
Like I will interview my sister.
You share everything about your life.
Yeah, I think that we literally just like yesterday, I was like, okay, let's start looking into.
Oh, you'll get signed to Dear Media within 2 seconds.
I would love that.
But, you wouldn't even have to start a podcast. They'd be like, we'll start it for you. You just sit down.
Perfect. I'm like, that's what I need, because I have like not too much to give, but I'm like, I can commit to something, but I just can't like do every step of it. So I don't know. Again, super early stages of like literally even just talking about it. But I think that we would probably start off like pretty general and then kind of just see like, what do we like talking about? What are we comfortable with? What are people liking from us? I wouldn't want to be too niched in something. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like, again, it's so new now. Obviously I've been sharing my life for a long time, but I haven't really shared something so personal. I mean, I actually have, because divorce is personal, but so is like birth. Yep. I vlogged all my births. Yeah. I vlogged my wedding, my proposal, my pregnancy. So I've shared things, but those are all positive. Yeah. Divorce is not. So I don't know, but I'm kind of just still feel like I'm processing all my thoughts and like figuring out how I feel while already knowing that I don't want to share too much of the details. Yeah. So I feel like I'm not like fully clear on what I actually want to say or like what a podcast would really look like, but I think it would be a fun idea. And I think I would love to. It's hard with my vlogs because they're so like pretty much just me. Yeah. And so when you're like talking to the camera, like, yes, I imagine that I'm like talking to the people that are watching, but also you are just by yourself. And so it's not conversation.